I almost have more than 2 decades of experience in the IT field, and it's a great opportunity to be here, and I'm excited to be part of this panel, and looking forward for a great interaction in the next hour or so. A great opportunity to be here.
Thank you, ma'am. Is that all?
Yeah.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Next, we have Debasmita Bal. Ma'am, would you like to, introduce yourself to us?
Yeah, sure. Hi, a very good evening to all of you. I think the slide pretty much captures my intro, but I would still take this opportunity to talk a little bit more. I am currently a development director in an organization called Genesis Telecom Labs. Having worked in a couple of organizations in the past, and which includes CTS, I think Kanchana said she is from CTS. I joined Genesis, and I have spent a significant part of my professional journey with this amazing organization, and I have grown with it. So I joined as a software developer, like people here who will join possibly, in a couple of years' time, and spanned and moved across various roles, spanning different teams and projects, and here I am. I'm sure I'll get a lot of opportunity to share my learnings and experiences as part of this session. Super, super excited to be here. Hackathon per se is very dear to my heart because I have been in the organizing committee of Hackathon for Genesis for several years now, and it has been on my mind to conduct a women-only hackathon for Genesis for a long time, and I'm hoping that this event kind of boosts that momentum, and I get to it very soon. I also want to add that I'm a big proponent of women in tech. I definitely believe in women leaders, and I have done my bit in my organization to promote women to leadership roles. Thank you, Shooting Stars Foundation, for giving me this opportunity to be here. Good luck to everybody.
Thank you so much.
So Debasmita, you'll be happy to hear we had 7,000 registrations for this hackathon. Yeah. With about 2,500 submitting the abstracts for the first round.
That is great. The last number I heard was 6,000 last night, but so it looks like between last night and today there are 1,000 more, which is super super awesome.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead, Diksha.
Yeah, thank you so much, ma'am, and we are also looking forward to hear from you. Next, we have Meghna, ma'am. Ma'am, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure, thank you. So, hello everyone. I have been part of the Indian IT industry for about 23 years now. Started my journey at Persistent Systems as a developer. Spent about 20 years here. Chose to step out of my comfort zone. Went into smaller startup organizations in the MuleSoft space. Followed by another organization called Datamatica, where I was the chief operating officer. It was a product company. And then last year, I joined back Persistent Systems. Today, I'm the vice president for the global delivery of the banking and capital markets portfolio at Persistent Systems. Very excited to be part of this forum. Really looking forward to engaging with all the smart girl minds that we have on the call today. And wish you all the very best for the hackathon. Diksha, back to you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And yeah, we are really looking forward to hearing from you. Do we have Ashwini ma'am with us?
She's on, yes.
I'm here.
Oh, thank you so much, ma'am. Ma'am, welcome to the welcome, and we really like having you here as a panelist. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, thank you, Diksha.
Ashwini, we are not able to hear you.
I agree with Smita. This is an honor for us to be part of, this event, sharing our experience. I practice. I got because of facing a challenge. This
Yeah, I think, Ashwini, we are not able to hear you. I think there are some bandwidth challenges. The rest of you able to hear?
Yes, ma'am.
Lata, I
guess,
can hear you well.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I guess we can continue with it and we can get back on Ashwini,
Diksha?
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, but your voice is interrupting in between. I guess it's the issue with your bandwidth.
I have switched off my video.
Yeah, I think now it's better.
Yeah, now it's better.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think, okay. So sorry guys for the interruption. I will be, and I'll try to switch a network so that for the further distance become a barrier. So what I was saying is
Ashwini, the network is still not good, Ashwini. We're not able to hear
delivery
you.
for security practice as AVP, handle the global, a role of head of Prerna focus connection, and as part of okay, I think let me rejoin Diksha.
Yeah,
you
sure,
guys can get started.
Sure, ma'am. So thank you to all the panelists for actually, sharing us their experiences and how they moved and what they're looking from us as next generation of women who come across and sit at tech roles. What are we looking for and what we look up to? Pavani, can you please mute yourself?
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you. So directly starting off with the questions, Debasmita ma'am, my first question would be to you. And as we have looked into what you were saying, your years of experience in the industry, I think it comes with its own mental challenges, right? Not only challenges regarding your work, regarding your performance, but also there might be instances where you might doubt your ability. And I think that's more prevalent in the industry because for women, right? Because they're made to doubt their abilities, although they might not only be equal to men, but better to them. So how did you overcome them throughout your experience or journey?
Yes, and I think definitely yes. Women, as you said, we generally tend to want to be much surer about our abilities before we feel confident about anything. Many studies have shown that women are likely to contemplate longer, think harder than men to take on any new assignment, even if they are possibly more qualified for the job at hand. I just want to share some statistics with you. It is interesting to know that more than 75% women have experienced something called an imposter syndrome. And I'll talk a little bit about imposter syndrome after this. While for men, it is just about 46%. So, imposter syndrome is that, you can say this uncomfortable feeling that you experience when you think you are unqualified, undeserving, or incompetent at something. It's that feeling of inadequacy, or you can say self-doubt, despite, having sufficient evidence of confidence. And that's what women suffer from more than men. And, this kind of comes in your way of growth and career progression. I want to share a personal story with you here. A few years back, I had been working in a project, and it had reached its maturity, and it was in a very it was in a comfortable position. It was running pretty smooth. I was looking to do something new, looking for a new challenge, for a change. Fortunately, I came across an opportunity where there was a new product team that was being built in India, and that involved setting up and building a new team from scratch, and of course, getting the entire know-how. Setting up the team, delivering on it. It sounded exciting. I signed up for it, while also continuing to support my old project and my old team. Right when I was in the middle of recruitment and this entire, building the team activity, Destiny had other plans for me. I became pregnant with my second child. And there you go. My first instinct was to give up the responsibility. I started having doubts. I felt I will not be doing justice to my new job. there were several questions that came up in my mind. Will I be able to contribute effectively in this situation? What happens when I go on my maternity break? With all these doubts, I was almost preemptively let go of this opportunity, even though my break was still multiple months away, and that's how women's mind works. But then I didn't give in to that instinct. I thought hard, and very, very unwillingly, I can say, I went against my initial instinct. I took it as a challenge. I started to work on making the team ready for my absence, created a backup for the time I was not going to be available, set expectations with all the possible stakeholders, basically made sure that I had a plan while I was gone. I can recall that I was working till almost the last day, just right a day before my delivery. Of course, keep making sure that I am well and my health is well. Um, Another additional thing that I did is I made sure that I do not disconnect myself from my team during my maternity break. I was working, connecting with them once in a while, making sure that they navigate through the challenges in my absence, giving them small advices. And it also helped me in a way that, when you are taking care of a newborn, you become too, involved in the entire task. And there are times that you need a break. And the time that I was not taking care of my newborn, it acted as a good, effective utilization of my time to go back to my project. And I can say that it surely made sure that the break did not impact my career. And I was able to progress in my career because of this. And of course, all of this needed support from my family, my team, my manager. And I'm not saying that whatever worked for me will work for everybody over here, but the key message that I want to say is do not give in and give up when there are challenges that are thrown at you. In essence, for women, the takeaway is do not say no to new opportunities. Do not over think about taking up something new. Don't believe in perfection. It is okay to improvise along the way. Be kind to yourself, and measure your successes. And I think most important, have a mentor and a guide that you can confide in, who can help you make decisions when you are faced with such difficult situations. That's all, Diksha.
Thank you so much, ma'am. That was truly inspiring. And when you really spoke about imposter syndrome, I think there might be a ton of girls there in the meeting who would have, experienced the same thing, where they doubted their abilities or waited for perfection. So I think that's truly inspiring, and coming from a woman who has had so many experiences, and we can see that we can grow up and become better and actually achieve what we want. Moving on with that idea, Kanchana ma'am, a question to you. How do you stay motivated and empowered through your journey or your so many years of experience?
Yeah, Diksha. So I would rather call this into multiple dimensions, right? I mean, we all should set realistic goals, right? For example, if you as students, if you want to complete, say, an AWS cloud certification architect, right, or your generative AI course in Google, right, by say the next few months or so, by September, you need to set a goal for yourself, right? You may have to plan for a week-wise schedule or a day-wise schedule, right, based on the topics or the sections that you have to clear that certification. And make sure that your plan is also seems achievable, right? If you are not setting a realistic goal, you might end up demotivating, right, yourself, and then you will not be able to take care of yourself. And similarly, establish a clear support system, right? Not just in terms of your professional life as well as in the personal life. Make sure that support system encourages you to achieve your goal, right? This is definitely important. And the third dimension is make sure that you celebrate even your, it can even be a small victory, right? Maybe you might have completed your course curriculum in a week or so as planned, right? Celebrate that event. And similarly, when you do a big victory, give yourself a treat, right? And last but not the least, over this journey of your professional and your personal career, you might have to take care of yourself, right? While we all talk about women and technology, right, women should also take care of their health, right? Self awareness is very, very important. So make yourself always in a positive light, exercise regularly, at least minimum 15 to 30 minutes, right? That's very, very important. Be energetic and stay positive. That's all, Diksha. I think these are the 4 or 5 dimensions I would say will definitely take you towards your goal.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I think that's very important that we personally take care of ourselves as we work, because it's our body that it's taking in all the pressure, and it deserves the respect as well as the work that it puts in. Meghna, ma'am, quickly shifting on to you. Now that we are all starters, I personally am a 4th-year student right here, and I'll be moving into the industry in the next few months. What is something you learned after working in tech, or something you wish you knew before you started your first job, or as a woman started working in tech?
Sure, Diksha. So I come from a very small town in Maharashtra, right? So we were always closeted in a small ecosystem, right? Friends, family, neighbors, and that was the world, right? I learned about networking much later in life, right? It is really in the second decade of my professional career that I started understanding that there's a concept of a network, right? I think building a network right from day one of your professional career is extremely crucial, right? And as I see a lot of leaders in the industry today, I see they have kept connections all the way back from school. Of course, WhatsApp has an Insta now for the young generation, has dramatically helped keep people connected, right? But I think that has been the one core thing I wish I had done differently in the first few years of my professional life. Back to you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I think that's one of the things that all teachers, all professors, or anywhere we go say, that form a network, because we as women have predominantly not been a network formers in the technical community, but as people like you, or as people like other panelists who have actually become a high position in tech world, we have started forming that community as well. Ashwini, ma'am, are you able to hear me now? Ma'am, you're on mute.
Am I clearly audible now?
Yes, ma'am, you are. Okay, so ma'am, a question to you. What are the few stereotypes, majorly stereotypes that you faced while you moved into the tech industry? And along with that, tagging along a question with that, and how did you overcome them?
Sure. So first of all, guys, sorry for all the disturbance.
Harshita, could you please mute yourself? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
okay. You. So, hi everyone, and I missed my introduction. I'm from Persistent Systems, leading a particular business unit which focuses on security. Along with that, I also handle a role which essentially enables me to help the women workforce in Persistent. We have a network, women network called Prerana, as part of which we kind of help foster the women development in tech industry and in the organization. So coming back to your question, right, Diksha, sorry. See, so if we are talking about specifically IT industry, right, there is a very minimal differential treatment between men and women nowadays. Okay. Now we have come a long way, I will say. See, when I started my career as part of, the recruitment, campus recruitment, etc., that used to happen, right? The IT industry was just blooming at that time. I have even seen some companies not selecting the girl students from the college only because, the IT industry needs long, extended working hours. It was assumed to be something where, you may have to actually go and stay in office for 7 days, only take a break on weekend. You may have to work, overnight and things like that. And of course, during the career, these kind of, situations come. There are projects which require your, additional bandwidth and all of that. But there was this notion, and I will say that we have come a long way. There is no notion like this at all nowadays. And specifically, all the audience, right? The college graduates who are there now, there are all sort of avenues open. Okay, there are no companies who are doing any bias with respect to hiring a girl student versus a boy student, for that matter. But this kind of was there, the situation was there. However, what I seriously feel that, IT industry or technology industry is based on skills, right? And skills can be acquired. Skill is it's an acquired, technology skill or whatever, right? So at least I have not seen any, I would say that, any difference between men and women as far as their technical abilities, learning abilities, execution, if we talk about presentation skills or anything of that sort, that is different between men and women, and hence there should not be any challenges that women should face. But I think we spoke about certain areas, the typical stereotype or the challenges during the marriage time, during the maternity time, that have been faced, I think, by almost everyone. And however, what I would say, I think someone was quoting an example. And what I would say is that, even I made sure during my maternity break, my first leadership promotion actually happened during maternity break. And why that could happen is because I did not do not quit until you actually are about to, not able to give that time. You don't have to start thinking too much in advance about, oh, what will I do, whether I will have time, whether I can really be available and things like that. You should not quit before time. I made sure that I was available, team could be dependent team, my management can depend on me. I was there consistently, dedicatedly available and all of that, which actually made it possible to get that first leader promotion while going on maternity leave, right? And nowadays, I mean, and it's not just up to us, guys. I want to say that nowadays the corporates have very, very flexible and all encompassing policies wherein, the position, your role is kept intact. You have been taken back into the same area and things like that, right? And organization like Persistent actually has gone a way beyond. And there are many corporates like this. We have a Wings program in association with, Maharashtra government, wherein we are taking the female, helping them get back in tech industry after a maternity or a longer break. And that's something that is an additional step that the company is doing. So I think that we have come a long way. The bottom line is we have come a long way. There is a great support from organizations and overall support system. So the typical stereotypes that we have seen, right, are actually going away. And there is a good situation ahead for the future generation.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I think that really helped us understand that what was the situation before, and that there are women who have tirelessly worked on in the tech industry to help us, future coming up generations to, explore more and gain the same position and level. Now we'll be going back to Debasmita, ma'am. Ma'am, you have had a lot of professional experience in the last few years, as we saw in your biodata. So what is one of the best professional advice that you have received in your years of experience?
I think there are two key, I will not stick to one, I'll stick to two. There are two key advices that I have received over my career and several times, and that has definitely been instrumental in shaping me. One, again, in line with what I told earlier, never say no. Learn to take risks. Sometimes it may work, sometimes it may not. I recently attended a conference of women in tech, and I will quote something that I heard there, and it has really made an impact and has stayed with me. Be comfortable with being uncomfortable. Which means that, whenever you sense that you are starting to get comfortable in a situation, it means it's time to try something new. It's time to make a change, and with every change comes learning. That's my first advice, and it has, I always look back at this whenever there is a new move that I have to make, or whenever some challenge is thrown at me. I go by this. Second, I would want to mention that we have to be our own advocate. Do not be shy in talking about and advertising your accomplishments. Culturally, as Indians, we are taught to be modest from the beginning, and more so as women. We are reserved. We do not talk about ourselves. And it took me, myself, several years to, realize and overcome this. There were several incidents in the past where I would be working on some initiative or on a project with a male colleague. But when it came to talking about it or, making a presentation about it, I would be very hesitant point in, taking some credit for it. And that sometimes doesn't act in our favor. It would basically mean that, you have not contributed enough, and maybe new opportunities don't come to you so easily. So I think it's very important that you be your own advocate. I'm not saying blow your own trumpet, but at least promote your whatever you have done, promote your accomplishments. That's from me, Diksha.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I think that's really important that we know how much value we hold and make others realize how much value we do have. Because if you don't value yourself, others won't really see it in you. Thank you so much, ma'am, for that answer. Kanchana, ma'am, next again to you. Do you think that this industry has done enough for women? We know that there are so many different programs happening, like especially for women, especially our hackathon itself, All India Women Hackathon, where we are pushing women. So do you think there has been enough outside in the tech industry? And if not, or if yes, what would you recommend to that?
That's a great question, Diksha. I know our tech industries, right? Tech industries and organizations have been working on diversity and inclusion for more than a decade or so, right? But however, I think we have come a long way as we speak. I think even Ashwini also spoke about there were initiatives on onboarding primarily women workspace, right? The reason why tech organizations are looking at right, inducting women and primarily on promoting diversity and inclusion is there is a clear statistics which says women who are part of the executive leadership, right, stand a chance to become more successful, right, in the industry, right? There are a lot of statistics which says you need to have women in the board of directors, in the leadership role, so that you have a blend of both perspective, right, both from a male and as well as the women perspective, right? So that's the primary reason for driving in, right, the women workforce across all levels, not at the developer level, even towards the middle management and as well as the executive leadership level, right? I'm sure to your question, the organizations have come a long way, right? As we speak today, most of the organization, including the technology and non-technology units as we speak, they have a clear diversity and inclusion charter. They also have goals and objectives that they track and report it in their quarterly and your annual report to the market, right? While the organizations are taking these initiatives, I feel still the aspects of, like, say, part-time jobs, right? Part-time opportunities, returnship programs, for example, right? These can still further be enhanced. I would say returnship program is nothing but a program where the woman can take a career break. I think the Deba Mishita has also told about her, right, a break in her career, right? She need to take a break of about 6 months or so, right, to bring up your kid and so on and so forth. Some women might decide to take a break to bring up their children, right, for about a year or so. So how do we bring those women back into the career? So that program is called returnship. So things like returnship, right, part-time career option, work from home options, these are something that the companies need to definitely get it together. As we speak, you all know that the IT industry going back to the normalcy, right, where every organization is requesting associates to come back to office. As we speak, right, there is a lot of resignations that we are hearing primarily in the women workforce, right, not in the male workforce. Since this pandemic has disrupted the way we work, right? Now during the pandemic, the women has put in a situation where she has created a lot of dependency on her, right, on the family and so on and so forth. Again, when the industry goes back to the normal phase, I would say again the women ratio, right, is slightly decreasing. So that is something that we will have to catch it up while we move forward. But to answer your question, we have come a long way, but still there's a lot more things to catch up, Diksha. Over to you.
I absolutely agree, ma'am. We have come a long way. There's still so much to go. And I hope that we who are in the meeting and other women who are actually going up after y'all are able to carry on your legacy. And as you said, the ratio between men and women are still pretty scarce. So fill in that gap. With that same idea of, that the ratio between men and women are pretty imbalanced right now, and that sometimes leads to all male teams sometimes, right? So projects in which there are males working, mostly male dominated. Meghna ma'am, as through your experience so many years in the industry, there might have been times when you have led a completely male team. You are the solo female lead. So how do you deal with it? Because sometimes men have the idea of knowing it all or having a higher experience. So how have you dealt with it as a leader?
Sure. So I think, and as I think Ashwini said, in the early years, this was a challenge. It does remain a challenge in certain pockets, right? Where it is very easy for a male to accept a male manager than a woman manager. I think there are a few things that have worked very well for me, right? For a person to accept a male boss is simpler through hierarchy, right? For a woman to be in the same place, you have to earn their respect, right? And how do you earn that respect? You earn it through competence, right? So you know your subject matter well, you study if you don't know, you read it up, and then you go into the conversations. That is number one, right? Number two is bringing objectivity to conversations. See, a lot of conversations do not progress or actions don't happen on the ground when there is a lot of subjectivity, right? So if you can bring in data to the conversation, if you can bring in logic to the conversation, if you can bring in very smart goals to the conversation, saying we have to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things by so and so date, right? It's very clear, there is no ambiguity, and it is very easy for you then to hold people accountable to what they're supposed to do, right? Some of these things have really worked very well for me, whether it is a male or a female in my team, right? It's a very, very objective model to hold people accountable to what they need to do for the organization. Back to you.
Thank you, ma'am. That actually not only gives how you have led as team, or how actually gives us an idea of how we should lead a team, where we set up proper expectations and expect our team to reach certain goals, irrespective of who we are, how we are. You're accountable for your work. So thank you, ma'am. Moving on.
Diksha, I would like to add, this is a very important point, and I would like to,
Sure,
chime in with my experience and, a little bit of my opinion in this. There are certain situations where you have to learn to be gender neutral, and this is one of them. Having a team pretty much means, having to establish trust and building a rapport. I agree with Meghna that, it is more difficult for a woman, but ultimately it is the goal of establishing a rapport with your team. I can say that, I am starting to be a little more gender neutral, and I think it has helped me immensely. Otherwise, sometimes gender consciousness plays so much in your mind that it pushes you off track and sometimes puts you in a position where you are looked upon as someone who is looking for privileges. And in the initial part of my career, there were many times I would go into a meeting and I would be the only woman in the room. However, it's important that you just do not pay attention to that, not let it come into any sort of dynamics. I don't think we want to stand out because we are women, right? We pretty much want to be treated as an equal and not given any special privilege for that. For instance, I myself do not believe that a man should open a door for me when I'm walking out or something like that. So having gender neutrality kind of gives us space, and I think it helps negate some common misperceptions that women face at workplace.
I want to extend to that, Diksha, right? I think Devasmita, a very, very wonderful point, right? And I think the best compliment that I've ever got from a colleague of mine is, I don't think of you as a woman. I mean,
exactly.
You're a colleague, you're a peer, right? And I think that goes a long way to also show how we as women are not, leveraging our gender and being the professional that we are supposed to be.
Absolutely, yes.
Perfect.
Thank you, panelists. I think this is one of the best questions we have had, because it involved like both of you all coming up with your experiences and truly becoming, putting in the idea that we don't need special treatment. We will do our work. We will get it done. We aren't different. We are just as good as you, and we'll prove to be better one day. So that's one thing. Moving on to Ashwini ma'am with that. Ma'am, this is a very very big question, a very high level of question. And I think all of the women here in this meeting and others actually prove this. What is the purpose of women in tech, like as their minds, as their role in tech?
Yeah.
Ashwini ma'am, to you.
Thanks. So, Diksha, before that, I think we obviously already discussed about, do we really want women employees or, women in tech industry and all. I actually want to sort of ask that why do we even want to ask that question or dwell upon that question? Okay. And here I would like to, put some statistics in the sense, see, there is a organization of women engineers. And I think Shooting Stars Foundation only published this report. I've read probably in your reports only some time back that, overall, all over the world in science and technology streams, right? There are almost 49% of women who get educated and get degrees in this field. Okay. However, there is a hardly 29% of women who are actually in the job of technology. Now, why is this case? And I don't know whether to call fortunately or unfortunately, India is leading in producing the STEM graduates at 43%, leading in the world. Okay. And no doubt that we know that India's education and quality of education is great, right? But then if we look at the people, the women in the STEM field, right, which is science, technology, engineering and maths field, right? Or research field as such, it is very low, 14% or something. Now, why is it so? And should it be the case? Obviously not, right? Now, what is the purpose of women in tech? I mean, how will it help, right? Now, let's think about this. See, we are in an era where technology is advancing the world, as we know. So in every field, be it a medical, be it, any field you take, there is a technology which is advancing. And we want the technology to advance in such a way that it should be useful it should cater to all the consumers, right? It should be useful for all of us. Now, when half of your consumers are women, isn't it the common sense that, half of the product manufacturing, engineering, marketing workforce should also be women? If the consumers are women and if the women perspective is not brought into the manufacturing, into, the idea that goes beyond, behind the product and all of that, how will it become a better product which can actually reach to a wider consumer base, right? So it should not even be a question whether this representation should be there. What is the purpose of women? We represent half of the community or, whatever percentage of the community. So we definitely need to be there and we bring in a lot of diverse perspective. I think we talked about this earlier. A diverse perspective helps in innovation, and this is something which is research proven. I mean, a very small example, which is taken, I mean, I've heard somewhere in the sense that, in a meeting, a men professor, for example, or a product owner was, kind of discussing an idea of how can an egg carton be used, for example? Okay, what can it be used for? Now, the men who are playing sports and all of that can always think about, using it as a golf storage for golf balls or tennis balls or whatever. Now, a woman or a mother kind of, even came up with ideas, right? Like, this can be turned into a dinosaur toy for boys. Okay, it can be turned into a jewelry box, as well as a very innovative design where you can plant the trees as well. So very innovative jewelry box with a tree planted at the end of, in one of the corners. Now, see, these different ideas when brought to the table, bringing in different variety of perspective, and it's not just about gender, okay? It's about ethnicity. It's about all other aspects. Diverse perspective brings in a lot of innovation that is proven, and that is what has been seen also. The diverse perspective of the women in industry, the workplaces become safer, it attracts more women talent. Even the male colleagues feel it to be, all-inclusive, all-encompassing workplace. There is a longer, I would say, lesser turnaround in the organization. A lot of, people stay in a job for a longer period. So it's like a family, right? You need to have a representation from all of the areas and folks in the world. So I would say, just to close that, see, diversity and innovation for tech industry or for any industry for that matter, will definitely improve, the profit of the organization. It will improve the products, by that it will improve the profit and all of that. So I think that it is very, very important. I mean, there should not be even a question about why it is important.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I think that's a very important aspect that we take in. Women, our brains have a huge amount to contribute to the industry as well. And if you don't take in the whole of your customer base, you're not really creating a product that serves your customer base. So thank you, ma'am, on that. So quickly, we asked our audience on what they would like to hear from you, because I have been asking questions and they would like to hear back from you. And there's this one question, and I'll be pushing it all to all the panelists, because as I've been hearing from you and getting inspired by all of y'all, I think this question goes to everybody, which says that what are the few qualities, or like if y'all could just name quick 1 or 2 qualities that an entrepreneur should have to become successful, or the mindset an entrepreneur should have. So panelists, the stage is open to y'all. What do you all think on this?
Innovation, if I may have start, right? Innovation and risk-taking abilities are the key factors, right, to become an entrepreneur. Yeah. Maybe
I will
other panelists.
Being a wife to a serial entrepreneur, let me also try and add to it. I think innovation, of course, 120% commitment to the cause. It's a cause, it's a passion, right? And the very important thing is to have a buy-in of your family, right? And I've had situation when for 5 days I wouldn't speak to my husband, okay? Because he would come in at 3 o'clock in the night, go to sleep, okay? I would get about 5 o'clock, cook, leave the home at 7:30, go to work. He would get up at 11 and he would go to work, come back at 3, right? So the only time we would talk to each other is on the weekends, and he would come home at a slightly decent time at 10 in the night, right? But really, right? So the passion for the cause and an extremely strong support from the family is very crucial for an entrepreneur.
So I would like to extend, since it's related to Meghna's point, Devasmita, if you can go ahead.
Yeah, sure. Please go ahead.
I would like to extend the point that Meghna mentioned, right? It is very, very important. So while we are talking about, the quality or we are talking about entrepreneurship, but I would rather say that it's applicable for any roles in a leadership position or for your career advancement as such. See, make your partner real partner. Okay. And we have talked about this earlier as well, due to the upbringing of the society and what we have learned so far and all of that, by nature, we take a lot of ownership on us, and be it household work, child care, or whatever, right? And that is why we think about what happens if I'm going to be a mother. Man never thinks what happens if I'm going to be a father. How will I be able to manage my job, right? So see, it's a life that you are building together. It's a career that both of you are building. So make your partner a real partner. That is really, really, really important. Okay. And one more point I would like to add is, all the girls, see, sit at the table. What we have observed is, any meetings that are going on and, any discussions that are going on, women by nature tend to kind of, back off, sit, decides, see and they underestimate their own abilities. I mean, women are very hard on themselves. I think Devasmita also mentioned about this earlier. We are the best critic of ourselves, to be very honest. We are very hard on ourselves. We want to be perfect in every role, right? All of that is not necessary. We can improvise. We cannot not necessarily be perfect in everything. The intention that matters and the dedication that matters, right? So importantly, be your own brand ambassador, sit at the table, don't be behind, don't neglect your abilities, don't underestimate your capabilities, and share that importance in the workplace. Okay, so that's another important point from my side.
Just want
Thank
to
you,
add
ma'am.
one last something that comes to my mind is, learn to deal with failures as well. Things will always not work as you expect. You will want things to go in a certain way. It will just bombard and will come about in another way. So learn to deal with failures. And I think it is extremely important, not just in any other profession, anything that you do, but entrepreneurship, you know, I think more so applicable to entrepreneurship, because it's a big risk that you take, and it's a big challenge. And unless and there'll be early failures as well. You have to learn to deal with that and move on and come out stronger.
Very
Thank you,
true.
ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. I think one thing I would like to point out here is I have been a part of multiple such panel discussions where there were predominantly men, and I don't remember anybody speaking about how they, took care of their families, how they were balancing it. And so this just proves that how capable women are of multitasking, how they can control multiple worlds together, right? So true leadership is just in women as long as they believe in themselves. And I think our panelists today truly show us that if we believe in ourselves, if we work hard, break the boundaries that have been mentally created by us, I think we can succeed. So I think we are truly inspired by all of y'all, ma'am, all of y'all, because it's been truly a journey, truly an honor to hear your journeys as long through your answers. So quickly. As one of the questions in our panelists or our participants came up with, how do you keep in touch with like the latest developments in your respective fields? As I know, it's not very narrow. All of y'all are from diverse fields. How do you all quickly, if you all could just tell us so that we could follow into that path?
Yeah, I think continuous learning, right? I think learning is definitely inevitable in every field, right? Not just technology, right? Every field you go, right? If just suddenly you wake up, things might have changed, right? That's the world we are in, right? You should start embracing change. You should start embracing change in everything, right? That's how the technology is, right? So continuous learning, and if you are into a field, right, be it developer, coding, or your banking field or whatever it is, continuously learn, look for opportunities to improve. I think this is where you will basically be relevant in the field and relevant in the industry as well. And as I speak, I have about 25 years of experience. I definitely make sure that I take up minimum 2 certification in a year, right? So I make sure that I plan to do that certification so that I be relevant in the industry. Yeah. Or
I
Thank
think
you.
very, very well said, Kanchana, right? Learning is absolutely important. I think when we grow through our school and college years, we always think study, padhai, learning is over the moment we get into a job, right? But it's actually the other way around. Learning starts when you get into a job, right? And especially in today's world, when technology is changing so rapidly, I think the one thing that you have to train your brain is to get trained again and again. Unlearn, learn, unlearn, and keep moving, right? Keep being new all the time. Block some time every week, right? As Kanchana has given herself a goal, 2 certifications, right? Block a time every week to learn something new, especially now, right? I think when Debasmita, Kanchana, myself, Ashwini, we started getting access to learning material was still very physical in terms of books. Right now, it is at our fingertips on our phones with Udemy and Coursera and whatnot, right? So I think it's an immense opportunity for us to learn, right? And today, if you look at, right, the younger generation, my son is in grade 10, and today he's writing a Python API to connect, a Discord API to a homework Google Docs sheet, right? So that he can pull out the homework and send it to all his friends saying, hey guys, this is the homework today, right? I mean, that's the level of information that is available. That's the level of stuff we can do in our life, right? If we are in the path of continuous learning. So absolutely with you, Kanchana, there. Back to you, Diksha.
Great example. And I would just like to add one more, avenue, and Meghna mentioned this earlier, that, networking and is very important aspect of, even learning. Say, it's like you can actually, as a group, you can learn much better and from the collective knowledge of a particular group, rather than, you reinventing everything yourself. There are many technical groups, technical forums which are available. You can actually subscribe to those forums, whichever technology area you are in, you need to be part of those forums in order to stay relevant and stay latest on what is happening in the technology area. So these things are very important.
I also would want to add that, there is also a need for acquiring soft skills. To not put that at the side. Being able to effectively communicate and present, I think, is equally important as your tech skills. You can have as much tech skills, but unless you are able to showcase or you are able to, put that into use and, make people understand how you are using it, it basically will not go a long way. So make sure that you are also building your soft skills, building your presentation skills and communication skills as well along the way.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I guess there were many more questions from our participants, and I think they have learned, a lot from you throughout these, different explanations or different answers that you all have given. I think one thing that you all have proven by your answers is that you all are true leaders in this industry. Leaders who not only inspire, but actually show us how work is supposed to be done and how we actually get work done, right? Not only in words, but in terms of actually job getting done, in terms of schedule, in terms of time. So before we end up today's, discussion, one quick line or like a few words on what is your best leadership advice? Like, you all have been in this role for so many, years. So what's one great advice of leadership advice you all could leave us with?
Yeah. I'll possibly take this question first. I think over the years, I have learned that learn to be vulnerable, which means that own up to mistakes.
You stole my word. You stole my word.
You should. Every human being commits mistakes, and any leader does so. I think there's nothing wrong in accepting that you have done something wrong. It inspires trust, and it kind of makes people look up to you. I think that's been my key learning all these years, and that's what I teach upcoming budding leaders, that you don't always have to prove that you are right. You can show that you do not know, go ahead, be vulnerable, show that you are in a learning spirit, and take it that way. Thank you.
If I can add, Diksha, I actually want to quote Persistent CEO, who kind of, always says that, guys, be the CEOs of your own patches and portfolios. Okay. So what I want to stress is ownership and, of whatever work you are doing gives you the necessary empowerment. I think we talked about motivation and empowerment earlier. It is not something given to you by, externally. If you assume the ownership, it's similar to, being a mother. Nobody gives you the empowerment to take a decision about your child. It comes automatically along with, the ownership and the responsibility. So you own your work, and then that's something that will give, that is the utmost sense of, I would say, the empowerment that is given, trust shown, and then that is something that will make you to give your 100% or more to the work.
Let me add.
Yeah, go on, man. So okay. Demonstrate passion, right? So that's very important. And hard work, do your hard work. That definitely help. Focus on your goals. I think if you can just work on this, I'm sure you'll be able to succeed in your career. Good luck, team. Good luck to everyone. Over to you, Meg.
Thank you. So I think a lot of my top advice areas were already covered by all the wonderful women that we have on the panel today. But one thing I believe can be also done is being yourself, being transparent, being honest about what you are and where you are. And that includes, what Dev Smita said about being vulnerable, right? Saying, I don't know, right? And being true to saying, yeah, I made a mistake, right? And owning up is what Ashwini said, right? So again, the transparency comes along with that, right? That you own up to doing something as well as own up to not doing something, right? So I think that is what I would leave you with. Be transparent, be yourself, believe in yourself, say that I can and I am, and that will take you a long way. All the best.
Thank you so much, panelists. I guess I can speak for everybody else who has been listening to you all throughout the meeting, that you all have actually given us a new outlook on how to move forward with our professional careers or working. And I think my takeaway personally from this one would be that we do not need to match up like men. We do not need to be like men. We have, as women, have our own ideas. We have our own space to grow. We have our own minds. So that's something we need to grow with. Of course, it comes with continuous working, continuous networking, as you all said, being yourself, as well as being vulnerable, owning up to your mistakes, but as well as growing when you realize you have made mistakes. So thank you so much to all the panelists for being over here. It's been a true honor as a student to actually face-to-face talk with you all. And so thank you so much. And we are truly looking forward to having you all again, or, talking to you all again, because I think as we move forward, or as we learn more, we would actually, I'm pretty sure the day I come across a board meeting or anything, I would truly remember what you all have been saying today, because your experiences sound so raw and original. So thank you to all the panelists. This will be the end of our discussion for today. I'll be requesting all the participants to fill in the feedback form that's in there. We would love to hear back from you. How did you like our session? And we also have a raffle coming up for whoever has participated. So please quickly go and fill the form in. So after you're done, you could leave the meeting. Again, thanking the panelists. It was a wonderful evening talking to you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Diksha.
Thank you, Diksha.
Thank you. A wonderful host to us.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you.
And all the best to, all the hackathon participants. And we really look forward to crossing paths, with you in future.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you
Good
so
luck,
much.
everyone. Have a good
Thank
evening.
you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Once again, reminding all the participants, please fill in the feedback form. It's very important for us to hear back from you all. And there's also a raffle. So there will be raffle prize winners. You all will be given cash prizes. So please fill in the form quickly as soon as you all can. We want quick responses from all of you all. Hope you all enjoyed the session and learned a lot. So thank you and have a great time, everybody. I'll be keeping the meeting active for a few more minutes so that you all can fill in the feedback form, and then I'll be ending the meeting. Thank you.